ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. So welcome to our Saturday morning session. First of all, I would like to wish all of you a very happy Diwali, which symbolizes the victory of good over evil. So I wish you all the best and to all you members of your family. And I'm sure the coming year would be fantastic for each one of you. So now we will continue on our journey of chapter 7. We will go to verse number 6 onwards. But I would like to expand a little bit on verse 4 and 5 before we go to verse number 6. You see, here Krishna talks about, in verse number 4 and 5, he talks about his lower nature, that is the lower nature of the Brahma, which signifies 8 elements, that the Prithvi, Jal, Agni, Vayu, Akash, then Man, Buddhi and Ahankar. And then he talks about higher nature, which is Parashakti, which is symbolizing the life force. Now here we must understand that this explanation is very fundamental. It's a fundamental science that how we are interconnected with nature. Man and nature are completely integrated with each other. That is what I want to explain here. The 5 Panchbhut, that is Prithvi, Jal, Agni, Vayu and Akash, they are connected to our 5 senses of perception. Each one of the senses is connected to each one of these 5 elements. For example, Akash is the symbol of Shabd, or the what you call the speech. Now all the speech pass through Akash and we listen that through our ears. So the ear is directly connected to Akash. Akash has no other quality except sound, quality of sound. And that sound quality is connected to our ears. Then the second element, which is air. Air has 2 qualities. The first quality is the quality of sound which comes from Akash. And second quality is its own quality, that is the quality of touch. Now air you cannot see, but when it touches your body, you feel it. So the sense of touch is connected to air. And the first quality it borrows from Akash. So it becomes heavier. Akash is the lightest, is Suksham, and then it starts becoming more and more gross. Then the third element of fire. Fire has 2 qualities borrowed from the previous 2 elements. That is the quality of sound and the quality of touch. And then it has its own quality of light. That quality of light is its original quality, and that is connected to our eyes, our quality of sight or our sense of sight. Now, whenever there is no light, for example, the sun disappears, we are not able to see. When the lights disappear, we are not able to see. It is directly connected to the quality of light. Then the fourth quality is the quality of water, which is further gross. The water carries the 3 qualities of the previous 3 elements. That is the sound, touch, and light. And then it has its own quality of taste. And that quality of taste is connected to our, sense of perception of taste. So that all the taste which we feel it because of water. So that quality of uh, uh, taste in our body is connected directly to water. And then the fifth element, which is the grossest element of all the 5, is the earth. Now, earth has five qualities, four borrowed qualities, that is the sound, touch, light, taste, and its own quality of smell. So, the fifth quality of smell is its original quality, and that is connected to our sense of smell. So, our five senses of perception are directly connected to these five elements of the nature. And that is why we are able to perceive these five elements, because our sense organs enable us to understand these five elements because of this connection of the quality between us and these elements. If there is no connection between the two, we will not be able to understand these five elements properly. So, this is a scientific explanation of five elements and how man and nature are directly interconnected. This is a complete synthesis of not only human life but all lives which exist on earth and the five elements of nature. So, this is a very important point which I thought I'll mention before we proceed further. Similarly, there's another connection between the uh, our sense organs and what we call tanmatra. For example, we have ears. Ear is the instrument of hearing, and tanmatra is the one which actually is called visay in Sanskrit. Visay means this tanmatra is the one which provides that propensity toward the sound. When you listen to a very nice musical sound, your ears get attracted to that, not because the ears are attracted, but because of the tanmatra of sound, the quality of the sound which you hear. So similarly, there are these five tanmatras which are connecting our senses to the outside objects. And because of those tanmatras, we are all the time get attracted. When you see something beautiful, it's not the eyes are attracted. The eyes are attracted because of the beauty which is connecting between the outside object and our eyes. So that is tanmatra. Now that tanmatra is the connecting point between our senses and the outside nature. Similarly, when we, for example, taste something very delicious, now the delicious taste is not because of the mouth, but because of the tanmatra which is connecting the food outside and the tongue inside our mouth. So that connection, these five tanmatras they establish, at that connection not only enables us to understand the outside world, but also creates a rag with those. That is what we call ras aane lagta hai. You start getting ras into the outside world because you find something beautiful. Now there's nothing. If you analyze that beauty, you will not find anything beautiful there. So-called beauty. You can analyze a flower, for example. You take it to a laboratory, you analyze chemically, you won't find anything called beautiful there. The beauty of the flower is the tanmatra, which is connecting our eyes and the flower. And that makes it look beautiful. And because of that, we get attracted. And this attraction due to tanmatra is the one which creates रस. और फिर उसमें आपको रास आने लग जाता है चीजों में. जैसे कोई सुंदर चीज है उसमें रास आ गया, कोई डिलीशियस चीज है उसमें रास आ गया, कोई बड़ी अच्छी म्यूजिकल साउंड है उसमें आपको रास आ गया. तो ये रास जो है वो दैट गिव्स राइज टू राग. So ras, ras and rag. So then we develop this rag because of these tanmatras which are connected to our sense organs, and those tanmatras enable us to connect and recognize the outside object and get attracted to those objects. So this is a very fundamental science. You can call it physics or you can call it spiritual science, but this is very, very important to understand. Similarly, when we go further, we will understand how man, buddhi, and ahankar are connected with our, not only with our body, but also connecting us to the outside world. That we will discuss at a later stage. So this is very important explanation of the entire physical nature and entire species of life that exist or inhabit this world. Now the life force comes from the Parashakti, so that is the one which actually enables this body and senses to operate. So whether it is the body of a human being or of an elephant or a fish, all the bodies operate because of that life force, which is the Parashakti, which gives us what you call consciousness, which provides consciousness to this body. And when we die, when the consciousness leaves, our sense organs, our other organs of the body, they become useless because they are not able to act without consciousness. So this is a very deep science which has been explained in verses 4 and 5. Then let's go to now verse number 6. You see, he gave this explanation. Now he wants to, for example, just telling that, everything in this universe is pervaded by me. That is not enough. An ordinary person wants to know more details to understand that particular, subject properly. So this is how Krishna is, as a good teacher, explaining everything in great detail. And now he's coming out with very specific examples to explain how he is pervading this universe. So here in this verse, he says, "Hey Arjun, तू ऐसा समझ कि संपूर्ण भूत इन दोनों प्रकृतियों से उत्पन्न होने वाले हैं." दोनों प्रकृतियों मीन्स द पराशक्ति एंड द अपराशक्ति. और मैं संपूर्ण जगत का प्रभव एवं प्रलय हूं, अर्थात संपूर्ण जगत का मूल कारण हूं. Now this is a very profound statement which you will not find anywhere else in the whole world. There are three Sanskrit words here which we need to understand. One is Kratsanyasya. Kratsanyasya basically means that whatever exists in this universe, जो भी कुछ आपको कृत लगता है यहाँ पर, whatever exists here is a combination of these two. So the whole universe is because of these two things. One is Jad, another is Chetan. Jad is those 8 elements, and Chetan is the life force. Puri Srishti, entire universe is pervaded by these two forces. Then there is a Prabhav, and then there is Pralay, these two words. Now Prabhav basically means that Utpatti, how you come into existence. So whole existence in which we come out, or the whole universe which has come out and manifest itself in this way, is because of this two forces of the Almighty. The physical universe has come out because of the Apara forces. Those 8 elements have come out because of the Apara Shakti. And the life force has come out, all the species of life have come out with the combination of Para and Apara. The body in all these species is because of the Parashakti, Aparashakti, and the life force is because of Parashakti. Utpatti is one part. That is how we say, we tell Brahma is responsible for, what you call, manifestation of this universe. Now that Brahma is not a person in that sense. It's a power of the universe, power of the Almighty, which is giving expression, which is giving manifestation to this universe. So that is the power which is called power of Brahma. Then Pralay. Now anywhere in the world we call God as Srashta. We don't associate God with death. Death, for example, in Christianity, they have created another force called Satan that is responsible for death. No other scripture talks that God is also responsible for death. No. Because they feel God is good. The word God comes from the good. And, anything good cannot lead to destruction. But this is a very holistic approach which Hinduism has given to the world, that no, not only the manifestation, but the dissolution of the universe is also because of the same force. And everything moves in cycle. There is a cyclical movement of everything in this universe. You are born, then you grow, you become old, and then you die, and then you get dissolved, and then you again come back. So actually, we have what we call Brahma's day and Brahma's night. Now, Brahma's day is the one when all the universe appears and manifests itself. And Brahma's night is the time when it takes rest. We call it Vishram. It is also 4.32 billion years, the night. The day is also 4.32 billion years. So in the day, everything manifests. In the night, everything gets dissolved and then remanifest on a new day. Now, this is the cycle which Hinduism has actually described in variety of scriptures in variety of ways. And if you remember correctly, till the 17th century, Christianity thought, or the entire Western world thought, that the earth is only 4,000 years old, rather 6,000 years old, because were there was something in Bible which says that the universe was created by the Lord approximately 4,000 years before the birth of Jesus Christ. So they added 2,000 years of since the birth of the Jesus Christ, and they say it is approximately 6,000 years old. That was their theory. They also thought that the sun is circling around the earth and earth is the center of the universe. And when Galileo came out with a different concept, he was imprisoned. He was not allowed to write. His articles were not published, and he was put behind bars for several years, 15 to 17 years. He had to remain in prison. Because he said that no, earth is not the center of the solar system. Earth revolves around the sun. And he also said that the life of the earth is not 6,000 years, it is more. But now the modern science firmly believes, based on actually the Indian writings, that the earth is 4.3 billion years old. That is what they believe now. And this is what precisely calculated and given with atomic time right up to the day of Brahma. This has been given in my book in precise detail. How atomic time is approximately atomic time is 8 divided by 13,500 of a second. You take 1 second, you take 8 seconds, and divide 8 seconds by 13,500. That is the atomic time in the Indian scriptures. That's called Truti. And then the calculation goes further down and down, and it says that one day of Brahma, which is also called Yug, that is 4.32 billion years old. The entire calculation is given how it is calculated. So that is the cycle of life and death. That is what Krishna is saying. He will refer it more clearly later on. But right now he's saying that Prabhav and Pralay both originates in me. I am responsible for both. So he doesn't take the credit only for good, but he takes credit for everything else as well, for the destruction as well. So this is a very profound science which has been explained here of the how the universe came into being and how it is run and how it moves forward. So Krat Sanyasya, Prabhav and Pralay. These are the three key words in this verse which we must understand. Then we go to verse number 7. हे धनंजय, मुझसे भिन्न दूसरा कोई भी परम कारण नहीं है। ये संपूर्ण जगत सूत्र में सूत्र की मणियों की सदृश गुथा हुआ है। Now, this is very profound explanation of this whole universe. सूत्र में सूत्र के मणियों की तरह से गुथा हुआ है। I should have brought a thread with all the notes on it. Now, that is what he's saying. Here, some people, interpret money as pearl, but it is not exactly pearl, because here the word is sutre mani gana eve. That is the Sanskrit word. So it actually means that सूत्र के बनी हुई मणियां सूत्र में ही पुरोई हुई हैं. That is the actual meaning here. So when you have, in the first part he says there's nothing except me here. नान्यति किंचित तसी, मेरे अलावा कुछ है ही नहीं इसमें संसार में. अन्य तो कुछ है ही नहीं, सब कुछ मैं ही हूं. और पूरा का पूरी जो जैसे सूत्र के अंदर सूत्र की मणियों की आपने गांठें लगा दी, तो एग्जैक्टली इन द सेम वे द होल यूनिवर्स इज वोवन इनटू मी. नाउ this kind of explanation we will not understand unless what Krishna had said in the very first verse of this chapter. The word he has used there is the very first word is मय्यासक्त बना. अगर आपका मन परमात्मा में आसक्त है तब आप इस चीज को मानने के लिए तैयार होंगे. अदरवाइज तो आपको लगता है कि ये तो यहाँ लकड़ी है, यहाँ पेड़ हैं, यहाँ घर बना हुआ है, यहाँ पर सड़कें बनी हुई हैं, यहाँ पे टॉयलेट बना हुआ है, यहाँ पे गोडाउन बना हुआ है. All this is what? Is it good? Yes, it is all good. It's not easy to understand. It is not easy to grasp it. All this universe which we see, the physical form and the life force, that is what he says, that all the 8 elements which are physical, that is also me. And the life force is also me. So it means all this thing which we see around it, it's all him. But there's a difference. That difference is important to understand. And that difference I want to explain with the example of a dream. When you go in the night in the dream, what happens? Your mind breaks into 2 different parts, maybe 3. One part projects this whole world which you have in the dream, and one part becomes yourself. And the third part is the mind which is projecting all that. So yourself is one, the projection is one, and the projected world is third. So these 3 things, they come from where? They come from the mind. Only one element. Nothing is created. Nothing is destroyed. Mind gets converted into 3 different forces. And those forces depict firstly you, secondly the power of projection, and thirdly the projected world. Similarly, because of the power of Maya, the god is able to project this world. In the first part is the projector himself, that is the Almighty himself. The second is the power of projection, that is Maya. And third is the projected world which we see, that is part of the Maya, that is what we see in Vaishnava state of our existence, in what we call waking state of our existence. So this is extremely important to understand, that this world is woven into the Almighty completely, in the same way as the dream world is completely woven into the mind of the human being. The entire world arises from the mind, entire world dissolves into the mind. Exactly the same way the entire world arises from the Almighty, The Almighty is also living in me and you, and we project. This projection comes from the force of Maya, and then we see this world outside. So whatever we see, whether it is the trees or wood or iron or earth or house or houses and highways and akash or whatever, this is the projection of the Almighty, which appears as this whole universe because of the force of Maya. So this is what it means, that why he's saying this is not only here is saying in Isavasya Upanishad also the first verse is Isavasya midam sarvam, that Isa ka निवास सब जगह है. Isavasya, Vasya is vas, Isa is God. ईसा का निवास पूरे जड़ और चेतन पूरे जगत में है. द सेम थिंग इज हियर, दैट मेरे अलावा कुछ भी नहीं है. And the whole thing is woven like the notes are woven on a thread. That is I think this is a very good explanation of the whole universe which we experience because of the sense organs and because of the Maya. Now, sense organs can perceive only that part to which our senses are connected. The part which is not connected, which cannot be perceived, and that is what we call avyakt. That avyakt is not manifest. It is manifest, but because we cannot perceive it, therefore it appears to be non-manifest to us. So this is what he wants to say. This is very, very deep science which he has explained in these verses here. Now verse number 8. हे अर्जुन, मैं जल में रस हूं, चंद्रमा और सूर्य में प्रकाश हूं, संपूर्ण वेदों में ओंकार हूं, आकाश में शब्द और पुरुषों में पुरुषत्व हूं. Now these examples he is giving to make it explain further, because when you go to a doctor tells you, okay, this is the problem, you take this medicine, you are not satisfied. You want to understand how this reaction happened, how this problem caused, what are the symptoms, how medicine will work. Similarly, the Krishna is like a good teacher, is explaining in great detail. He's explaining how he appears into this universe, how the universe works because of his force. So first he says, मैं जल में मैं रस हूं. Now this is the 5 elements. We saw the 5 tanmatras there. So jal ki tanmatra hai ras. Now jal is not the water which we see. Ras is not the water we see. This is water, but this is not ras. Ras is the one when we take the water, the taste will come on our tongue. That taste which is connecting our tongue and this water outside is actually ras. So that ras jo hai, that is originating all the ras, whether you eat sweet or whether you eat wheat or whether you take, any other food grain or any other item which you eat. If it gives you taste, it is because of that water. That taste is, it's not easy to explain. Let me give another example. For example, you are sitting with your beloved and you touch her hand. Now, touching her hand is only a physical action, but while touching the hand, you might feel something inside, is something which is very, some ras, something which is looking very good to you. And that becomes ras and leading to rag ultimately. So that is ras. You have a lot of money, for example, in your account. Now, money doesn't mean anything at all, but you developed a taste for that money. Now, that taste which you developed, that is ras. Similarly, you can develop ras into variety of things in this world. As soon as you develop ras, it becomes ras and then it leads to rag. Then you get attached to it. That is what Krishna is saying in the previous chapters, that we should not get attached to those things. The rag should not come into the play. That is what he was saying. But here he says that जल में मैं रस हूं. जल का जो essence है, the essence is ras, and that essence is me. That is what he's saying. चंद्रमा और सूर्य में मैं प्रकाश हूं, आभा हूं. Actually, the word here is prabha, prabharasmi. Prabharasmi sasi suryayo. Now, he is basically, you see, when the light comes out of sun and moon, you get that abha all around. You get, sort of enlightenment which comes out. Now that is what he is. It is the essence of light. It's not light, it is the essence of light which comes out. That is what he is. So essence of Chandrama and Surya, essence of water, essence of Vedon ka essence kya hai? Om. Why Om? We saw that in the Mandukya Upanishad. Mandukya Upanishad is nothing but explanation of Om. A, U, Ma, and then, which is not said, the fourth. That is, A is what we call Vaisnava state. U is the dream state. Ma is the deep sleep state. And the Avyakt is the one which is the fourth. This is what we Turiya, or the fourth. So, the entire scripture, all the Vedas, their essence is Om. They explain what is Om. Om is depiction of the superpower, of the supreme power, of the power which governs this universe. That is Om. And this is the word which has been used by the English language when they call it omnipresent. When they say omniscient, that he has all the knowledge, he has all the power. So these words have taken this Om from Sanskrit. So omnipresent also represent the same thing. So the power of the words which is contained in Veda, what do the Vedas explain? They explain basically what is Brahman, what is the supreme power in this universe. That is what they explain. How the supreme power operates this world. And that is, in a sense, Om. Om is not a word. It is merely a sound. ये शब्द है, ये इसका कोई मीनिंग नहीं है. इसका अर्थ सिंपली ये है कि I can tell you with my own experience. When I was in Mongolia, I went to a deep forest, because Mongolia is a country which has very little population, vast country, and very, what you call, silence. You can experience total silence there. So once I went to an area which is completely silent. And in that silence, when you stay absolutely in meditation for a few minutes, you feel that an original sound comes from the earth, which is similar to the sound of Om, Om, Om. Now that sound is what we believe, and what has been told in Upanishads is the first sound which was uttered by the Supreme Lord to create vibrations, to create this universe. And that is a primordial sound. The sound which, when everything disappears, that sound remains. When everything is in place, that sound remains. But we are not able to listen to that sound because there are too many other sounds around here. Like in the night, we listen too many sounds. We listen, even the birds are singing. But in the day, we don't. All those birds are still singing in the day. But we do not listen because there are too many sounds. So when you go to a very quiet place, very silent place, you hear this background sound in the earth, in the environment, in the universe, which keep repeating wording like Om, Om. And that is the force which created this world. This force depicts the Supreme Lord, the Almighty. And that is what we understand from Veda. And that is how Krishna has said that I am Omkar in वेदों में ओंकार और आकाश में शब्द पुरुषों में पुरुषत्व. Now, the quality of Akash is only one, that is the word, that the Shabd, it vibrates in Akash. And पुरुषों में, what is that? पुरुषत्व. पुरुषों में जो essence है, which makes you a human, which makes you. Actually, the word Purushatva here is not, this word Purus here is not denoting a male. It is not denoting a human being also. It is denoting to the all species which have life, like the Prakriti and Purus. Prakriti is the one which is the, Jad element, and Purus which gives the life force. So that Purus is not the one which we normally understood male, female. No. It is also not the human being only. It is the life force which makes life visible in this universe, which makes life vibrate in this universe. That force is me. So this is indirectly reference to Parashakti. So this is what he is explaining further down, giving these examples of the real world so that Arjun can understand that properly. Otherwise, simply saying that I pervade the entire universe, ordinary person will not understand it properly. So he has given these examples. He has given further examples, like in verse number 9. मैं पृथ्वी में पवित्र गंध और अग्नि में तेज हूं तथा संपूर्ण भूतों में उनका जीवन हूं और तपस्याओं में तप हूं. Now पृथ्वी में गंध, पृथ्वी का the element of earth, there is only one single quality, original quality of that element is the quality of smell. And he says pavitra gandhu, the smell which is purified smell, the smell which makes you go upwards. There are certain smells which make you feel go downwards. That is not the smell he's talking about. He's talking about the smell which gives you energy, which takes you upwards. So this is the space. That is why he has used this word pavitra smell. Pavitra gandhu. Agni mein tej hu. Agni mein, what is that? What is the quality of fire? The quality of fire is the tejas. I don't find any word in English which can, it's not illumination either. It's not easy to find a word in English parallel to that. तेज, you can understand, like some people have on the face, कि आपके face पे तो तेज दिख रहा है. You can feel it, You feel that prabha. You feel that enlightenment. So that is what he says. अग्नि में मैं हूं जो उससे तेज निकलता है. जैसे सूर्य चंद्रमा में जो आभा निकलती है, सिमिलरली अग्नि से जो तेज निकलता है. संपूर्ण भूतों में उसका जीवन हूं. Now this पुरुषों में पुरुषत्व हूं. The similarly, this is, these are two, they are not the same thing. पुरुष में पुरुषत्व है. पुरुष is already a life force. उस life force का जो essence है, that is me. Essence of the life force. And here he says that भूतों का जीवन हूं. जैसे we are भूत, we are, one example of the भूत. जो लाइफ हमारे अंदर है वो लाइफ भी मैं हूं, और जो लाइफ है उसकी लाइफ भी मैं हूं. These are two different connotations altogether. The first one refers to the life of the life, and the second one refers to the life of a species, life of a living being on the earth. और तपस्याओं का तप हूं. तपस्याओं में तप means, for example, somebody is standing on one foot for 5 years. Now, how does he get that force? From where? Somebody is not eating for 60 days. How does he get that force? That force which enables him to do that tap, that is the force which he says, I am. So he just giving examples. The verse number actually 7 explains everything. कि मेरे सिवाय कुछ भी नहीं है और मैं सूत्र की मणियों की तरह से पूरा संसार मेरे अंदर गुथा हुआ है. But to explain that further, he is giving these examples. So this is another example that तपस्या में मैं तप हूँ. Then we'll take verse number 10, today the last verse. हे अर्जुन, तू संपूर्ण भूतों का सनातन बीज मुझको ही जान. मैं बुद्धिमानों की बुद्धि और तेजस्वियों का तेज हूं. In fact, in the first part of this sentence, this verse, he has already told that संपूर्ण भूतों का सनातन बीज मैं हूं. संपूर्ण जितने भी भूत is not necessarily living being. Even the mountain is called bhut, which has been manifest is bhut. So जो भी कुछ इस संसार में manifest है उसका कारण मैं हूं. I am the sole region, like a seed of a banyan tree contains the roots, it contains the huge trunk, it contains thousands of branches which will come out, it contains millions of leaves which will come out, it also contains the flower and the fruit. So all that is contained in that small little seed from where everything comes out. Similarly, he says, everything comes out of me. The whole universe is manifesting from me and then dissolves into me. This is what he wants to say, basically explaining that the entire origin and the dissolution of this entire universe is from me. All the life force comes into the living being is all from me, and I am completely woven into this whole universe. So this is what he wants to explain, but this thing we will not understand unless we go into the first word of the first verse of this chapter. माया मसक्त. आपका मन जो है ना वो परमात्मा में आसक्त होना चाहिए. मम्यासक्त मना. मेरा मन जो है आपका परमात्मा में होना चाहिए. उसमें पूरी तरह डेडिकेटेड हो तब इस चीज को समझ में आ सकती है. अदरवाइज तो हम कहेंगे तो ये तो झूठ लगता है. इट डजंट लुक करेक्ट. So that is possible only when, that is why Krishna has said that without total surrender to me, you cannot understand this knowledge. That is the another verse he has used in the beginning, that without total surrender. That is very important. So all this we can understand only when we surrender totally. And now the modern scientists have come out with what we call singularity. They have come out with the words like oneness, singularity. That basically means that everything comes from one and dissolve back into one. And this word is very, very, commonly used by the modern scientists, singularity. Singularity leading to plurality. Oneness leading to many things, manyness, and then again turning into one. And also the cycle which he has explained, that Udgam and then dissolution is all from me. So the cycle, everything is cyclical in this word. A tree grows from the seed. It grows, it becomes a full tree. It gives you a lot of fruits, and then the fruit again give you some seed. And finally the tree, when it falls down, it dissolves into the same earth from where it came from. And the seeds which are born out of that tree, they again become the seed of a new tree. So this whole cycle continues. Even if you take the water cycle, for example, the water from the ocean rises because of the sun heat. It becomes clouds. The clouds are taken away by wind here and there. And then again the temperature changes, which is causing what we call condensation process. Because of the condensation, you have snowfall and you have rain and you have hails. The whole water comes back to the earth. It forms the streams and the rivers and lakes and canals and everything, and then again goes back to the ocean. So there's a cycle there. Everything in this universe is cyclical. We can see our own life is cycle. At the fag end of our life, we become the same powerless child, We cannot control our stool, we cannot control our urine, we don't know how to eat. That is what happens when the people become very old. The whole cycle reverses back to the same childhood life, and then you are reborn again as a child. So this is what he's explaining here. What is this universe? This universe has two forces, para and apara. Apara is divided into eight. Para is one, which provides life. And then there's a cycle which moves, and they all originate from me, they all end from into me. I am the Prabhav and I am the Pralay of the entire universe. And then he explains that everything which is a sense of anything is coming from me. That is the example he has given, like Abha and Surya and Chandrama, or Jal mein मैं रस हूँ, पृथ्वी में मैं गंध हूँ. All this is that part. So I think the Almighty is pervading this whole universe. This is what he is explaining here. This is, if we understand this, I think there's nothing more that we need to understand. But if we have doubts on it, then of course we will first have to resolve those doubts. And those doubts can be resolved only when we surrender to Him completely. So thank you very much. And once again, I wish a very, very wonderful, joyful Deepavali to all of you. You and your family members enjoy the festivities and have new energy for the next year. Thank you very much.